you would talk treason. So, out you go.
The people that Medea interacts with most frequently will be speaking and also signing. So we are hiring a couple of sign language interpreters to actually teach, sign language teachers, to actually teach the members of the cast sign language.
Now we're having the head. The hair.
I've hired a person, his name is Patrick Graybill, and he is what's called a master signer. He is, he is deaf, and he's lived in the professional world of theater for all of his life. And what one of his specialties is that he reads the text, and he actually translates the written word into a visual language.
Okay, we need to add a little bit there. So you want to say yes? The first time you did yes, your brain. Okay.
Oh, it's just what we need. I like that.
So you
My
want to say
fault.
the word exactly, and then need, then a bounce at the
Okay.
end.
So that was
Okay,
correct.
so let's sign that all again.
This.
Just sign
Oh,
what you
again,
did
that means again. Gotcha.
When the audience comes to see the show, what there's not going to be is a sign language interpreter, signing and telling the audience what's happening. That's not going to be needed at all. When they come, the text will be translated by Patrick Graybill so that everything is going to make sense, and the words that the audience needs to hear are going to be heard, and the gestural language that we create will be so clear the audience will understand. So it's mixing and matching, it's learning sign language, it's the world off stage is not unlike the world on stage in terms of how we're going to have to communicate to each other.
Take care of them and keep them from their mother. Frantic eyes. She'll do such things. Pray God she hurts her enemies, not those she loves.
The nurse, which has cared for her children through their whole life, the nurse will often interpret for Medea also because they've been very, very close their whole life.
Or steal through the sleeping corpse to the dance bed and spike their guts.
The nurse she's raised Medea, basically. She's been her nurse ever since Medea was a little child, and so she's very much a mother figure to Medea, and is very protective of her, and is extremely concerned for Medea's well-being, because she's the one that really sees what's going on. I think she's kind of the outside eye that can take everything in, because she's not directly involved in it.
She won't look up. She stares at the ground and offers soothing words. She's as cold as stone. Bitter as the sea. Like a ghost. She turns away, cries, "Father, Father," weeps for a home. The country she betrayed for Jason, who raped her pride.
There are a lot of roles for the actors. The nurse is a fantastic role. We're using young actors, and that person has two responsibilities. They have to voice for Medea, plus know the lines, plus know my lines, and that person has to person has to understand what they mean and what my lines mean as well as hers. So it's very beneficial for that actor before they leave their program. And we chose Rebecca, and she's doing a fantastic job, a wonderful senior at VCU, very talented.
My initial response to learning sign language in itself was like, oh cool, I get to learn sign language. But then we had this meeting like before school got out in May, where we got this email from Heather that David read to all of us, and he was like, "So, Becca, you're going to have to learn everything. Basically, you have the most to do." And as soon as he, like, in front of the whole cast, he's like, "You have a lot to do. You need to be, you know." And I flipped out, like my heart sunk, and everyone in the cast just went and like looked at me, and I'm like, ah! But so it was terrifying, absolutely terrifying, because I'm not only learning sign language, I also have to learn to interpret the signs that Mary gives, because I'm going to be speaking her lines. So I'm not only interpreting other people's lines for her, I'm interpreting her lines for other people, and it's just, it's complicated, and it's stressful, but it's really cool, and it's a really great opportunity.
Go as slowly as you need to. I wish it had never sailed, the good ship Argo. Never winged its way past mist-blue rocks to Colchis.
It's like trying to teach someone a foreign language in a matter of 3 months, that's really, really hard to do. So we've been very selective about how much sign language a character will know. Some of them know a little bit, and it's a choice that we've made because of the given circumstances in the play. Some characters know a lot of sign language, some know a little bit. It's just the amount of work it's going to take them to actually learn and then to make that part of their daily, work is just a lot.
So with the cast of Medea knowing sign language, I can relax a little bit. I don't have to work so hard to pick up the cues. And it makes sense, that there's varying sign skill among the actors as well, because there's some historical relationships that these people have with Medea, and therefore their signing ability would be either better or worse.
There are lots of characters who are learning ASL. Rebecca's learning an immense amount. And then there are some people who aren't learning any at all in terms of a formal rehearsal time, but lots of people are picking things up because they're interested through the rehearsal process.
We empathize.
Okay, so we empathize?
Your pain. We empathize.
We empathize.
With your pain. And you're coming, you're just like, it's true that this is like really, really painful. This is pain.
This is like pain. Agony. I remember Becca did agony.
Yeah.
One question. What have I done that warrants it? Frankly, you frighten me.
I think it just helps to clarify that she is outside and just investigate the theme. How do we as a society engage with the person who is perceived to be the other? And the thing I think is fantastic about the ASL is that it's very visual. It really clarifies that relationship. How do we, are we sympathetic but skilled or unskilled? Or are we unsympathetic but skilled or unskilled? Do we care? Do we not care? Do we find it disgusting, repulsive, frightening? Or do we find it fascinating and want to engage with it more and want to be as close to that different person as we possibly can? The ASL just helps to, as I said, give us a visual thermometer, I guess, or a visual spectrum on which to investigate that theme. And it seems pretty relevant as a question, at the moment in the world, how we engage with the other. And a lot of the time we have fear about that, or a lot of the time we don't. So maybe people will see parallels and resonances and ask themselves the question about, gosh, that was what was going on in that world. How do I engage with the other in my own life?
They'd sooner hate than know you properly, even before you've done them any harm.